what we went out and what we looked for at the beginning was who are our partners in this, who makes the most sense. And not that the other people couldn't do it, but we were looking for people that aligned culturally and also aligned with projects that we knew were similar, or we've done similar types of projects together.
Had we been able to bring everybody on board immediately at the same time, it might have been more efficient up front, but it wasn't like we wasted a ton of time. It was just that interesting dynamic of here's how buildings are typically designed and built in this environment. So when somebody new came on, it was like, no, it's not what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And we're not going to sue you if it doesn't work perfectly. That was the other component of making everybody realize that DPR as the owner was bought in, and we knew we were doing something different that hadn't been done in this area, and that we were okay with it.
In a normal project, it's the design team under pressure to deliver. Here, it was the owner under pressure to deliver a concept to everyone.
We can't forget about the involvement of the city as well, the municipality, the inspectors, the plan reviewers. I mean, we were changing things on the fly, like you say, and the engineers had to respond and provide a design, and the city had to be willing to roll with the punches, and they were. We had meetings with them before we started construction just to make sure that, hey, we're trying to do something new here. We're trying to do something different. It's not going to be your typical office space. So just so you know, these changes and this design is coming your way. And they were great. Without them, getting allowing for the phase permits and the different changes in design that happened right up to the last second, it wouldn't have been possible.
Andy made a very salient point before when he said we couldn't go back into the norm of how we do a LEED project, because everybody on the team had done very successful LEED projects. And if we would have went back into that norm, it would have been about counting the metrics, going through the cards and looking at the numbers. But it wasn't about because that would have put all of us back, architects, engineers, consultants, back into a comfort zone. And this job was about challenging the comfort zone, not about falling into the comfort zone. It was moving outside of the comfort zone. That was DPR's vision for the Phoenix location. So you were right, that was a key thing. We could not let the team go back to where they were comfortable. We've been successful before in LEED buildings. Now, net zero, net zero, net zero.
We were comfortable enough to bounce ideas off each other and make it happen, and I don't think we could have been so successful in that timeline if we didn't have a level of trust already established by picking our partners by hand.
Well, that and the intelligence level that goes along with knowing who you're dealing with and working on site. You've got guys that are experienced, you've got guys that have a lot of know-how in the field. So if there is an issue that comes up, it's not sitting back waiting for an engineer to give you an answer. It's guys coming forward and saying, hey, let's do this, let's put this into place, and that'll help us build the place faster.
The whole process became contagious, and you could see it every day you walked on the site. It just became contagious, and the feedback was instantaneous. No one was afraid to not say something because they'd be wrong. Again, there's no bad question, there's no bad comment. There's never a time you shouldn't say, hey, what about this? Because I think they were empowered by watching the rest of their teams and people in their company that were on the original design team. Wow, everybody's excited about this job. It's going to be different. It's going to be the wave of the future.
Every session was kind of this big experiment and throwing all of our ideas onto the table. And
I remember that after that first meeting, everyone, was nodding their heads like, those are great goals. And then when the meeting was over, I remember everyone sort of doing this, snickering and mumbling, walking out like, that's never gonna work. And we had that same meeting 3 or 4 times, and eventually every single person was now questioning, no, we can reduce that more, we can challenge this more. And then it wasn't just our designers coming up with the challenges and questioning our mechanical loads. It was Jim Dinan and it was Wilson Electric, and they were pushing back, and they were just as passionate about making it work as we were.
And I think that people understood that down to the last person on the job.
Your word of empowerment. I feel like this project and the team really did create a sense of empowerment for us, for all of the partners, and for the whole community.
Understanding how this project came together, it became clear to us that having the right players on the team and that we understood each other, trusted each other, was a big part of that.
It's an important part of the story. You can't just write the 10 goals on the board and expect it to happen.
I don't think that you could just go out and pull a bunch of people together and figure out how to do this. It was the effort of the individuals as well as the culture of the companies that brought it all together.